Hello and welcome. The stream will be starting shortly. We're just waiting for a few people to show up during the live stream so we can get this party started. But I'm very, very excited to talk to you about the harsh truth behind going freelance as an artist today. We're going to go over some pros and cons, especially for those of you out there who are like, what the fuck am I supposed to be doing? I wanna make a living, Dina. As a full-time freelance hand lettering artist or illustrator or designer, but I just don't know how. It's so frustrating. I know, isn't it? Let's get into it. What's up? Hey guys of the internet, I'm Dina, and today we're going to be talking about how to go full-time freelance. Huzzah! And I also want to make it very, very clear to you that it's all not rainbows and unicorns. Yes. There's more to it, and we're going to get into all the good stuff, all the bad stuff, and the official 7-step checklist that I'm going to go ahead and give you today to make sure that you are ready to go full-time freelance. Are we excited? All right. Those of you who are watching right now live are patrons. Thank you so much for supporting my art. You are the ones, for $7 a month, you're getting access to a different live stream every single Wednesday where you get to ask me personalized questions, just hang out in the chat and be my friend. And you also get monthly hand lettering workbooks teaching you a new style of hand lettering. So for those of you watching this in the future, definitely consider becoming a patron and getting early access to these videos. Are we ready? We got ZMac attack in the chat. All right, regardless of how many people show up to the live, let's get into it. All right, so typically these lectures are about an hour long. Every single week we're gonna be talking about different topics, and these are all topics recommended by my patrons. So if you are struggling with something, or regardless if it has anything to do with freelance, but creativity, how to draw or make a specific thing, how to sell or advertise a specific thing, whatever your issue is, definitely hit us up over at Patreon. You can go ahead and subscribe to my free newsletter just by hitting the follow button on Patreon. It's pretty sweet, but enough of the marketing blah, 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 blah. All right, let's get into it. All right. Dina, what are the best parts of going freelance? Well, what everyone says is you make your own schedule, right? You got those internet skills to pay the bills. How amazing, right? You wake up whenever you want. You work whenever you want. You work however much you need to. It sounds beautiful. But the con to that is you are probably going to end up working more than double what you're working at your day job. So something to keep in mind. If you're thinking about going full-time freelance, you are definitely going to be working more than you ever had, especially in that first or 2 years of you going full-time. So yes, you will be able to make your own schedule, but you have to be held accountable, which is really, really difficult. Number 2, you get to select what clients you work with. How amazing, right? You're like, I never have to work with a shitty client, a client that treats me poorly, a client from an industry I have no interest in. I definitely have worked with sports, in the sports industry. I don't know anything about sports. I once had to make a volleyball logo for a new team for ESPN, and I had to learn how to play that sport because I had no idea what the players look like or what equipment they use. I felt totally out of my element, but that was my job. I worked at ESPN. I don't know why they hired me now that I think about it, but hey, I got that job. And then when you work at an agency, you get these opportunities to work with all these different kinds of clients, but you very rarely get to be in charge of the art direction and get to really have your say. You kind of end up being like a production monkey of sorts. If for those of you who are, creative in your daily life and in your day job, you're lucky enough to get one of those jobs. But the thing is, when you are full-time freelance, yes, you get to pick out your clients, but sometimes clients stop calling. And you only want to work with a very specific kind. If you, let's say your dream is to go ahead and create, t-shirts for bands, then it would make sense if clients are asking you to do other things, you're getting these inquiries in your inbox for other stuff, you have to say no to them because that's the thing that you're specializing in. It's cool because you can attract those kinds of clients to work with them more often, but, especially in the beginning, you may not get all of those dream clients at once. And you're going to have to figure out other ways to make money so that way when the clients stop calling, you can still pay your bills. And I think that's the one thing we don't really talk about as freelancers, whether you want to be a freelance designer or artist, that you have to do so much more than work with clients. because you need a backup. Like, you have families to take care of. I'm assuming you like food, right? That you need to be able to afford groceries, go out to dinner every once in a while. And it's really, really frustrating when, you just get crickets in your inbox and you feel lost and you feel bad about yourself, and then you end up compromising your values and working with clients you really normally wouldn't, just so you can pay those bills. So other things to keep in mind is, start a Patreon. Go ahead and, sell products on the side, digital or tangible. You have to, have all these different revenue streams come into your bank account, so that way if one of them breaks off, you don't go totally broke. And this is something you need to be prepared for if you're wanting to go full-time freelance. All right, third, this is the coolest part. This is the best part, right? When you go freelance, you make more money in less time. I mean, that sounds nice. I like that. I like money. But it's not regular, right? It's not consistent income to make sure that your bills are paid. And very rarely are you able to perfectly, get your schedule and fill it with those amazing clients. So that's something you just have to kind of get used to, which is why, again, it's really important to have diversified revenue streams when you're going full-time freelance. Because again, I really don't want you guys have to work out of a scarcity mindset. I've been full-time freelance for over 6 years now, which kind of sounds a little insane. I've been freelancing for way more than that, but I think full-time is somewhere between 5 and 6 years. And in the beginning, I had no idea what I was doing. I was so broke. I was having to lean on my partner to pay for rent and some of my bills. I had to ask family for money. And that's no way to get the people that love you, feel like they can trust you and support you and believe in you if you're having to lean on them right when you start full-time. So definitely some things to consider. All right. Okay, Dina, you're telling me these pros and these cons, but I want you to just have a very realistic point of view for freelance, because the more you're prepared, which we're going to get into that in the second half of this lecture, the better you'll be, and the more money you'll be able to make, and the less stressed out you'll be, and the less pressure that puts on the rest of your family, and everything can just be smooth sailing. So I'm not trying to totally freak you out or anything, but I do think it is very, very important. My breath just gave way. To just think of all the pros and cons. All right, I see some people coming into the chat. What's up, Noelle? What's up, Lena? How are you? Thank you for joining us during today's live stream. All right, more bad stuff. Let's get into it. All right, number 4, you become an authority. This is great. When you go full-time freelance, you, in the eyes of every other person who wants to go full-time freelance or even do freelance in the first place, you are on this pedestal to them. And it feels good. You feel like your career is on the right track. You're climbing that ladder. You're getting more followers on social media. And it's a good vibe. It's a good feeling, right? To be important. But with that kind of level of success at each stepping stone that you create for yourself, there's going to be added pressure naturally, because it's not like we're the kind of creatures that are we have this one goal and then once we attain it, we've reached happiness. No, unfortunately, we crave more always. So it's even if you do make it to full-time freelance, then maybe you're going to want to run your own studio, or maybe you're going to want to start a clothing line. There's always going to be another thing, and you're always going to feel extra pressure to stay on top, and your goals are only going to go up from here. This isn't a bad thing. This is actually one of my favorite parts of being an artist. I get bored very easily. I get to start all of these cool projects, work with all these different clients. I have different seasons of focus where all right, summer, I'm all about client work. And then when fall comes around, I'm really going to buckle down and try to sell some products. And it's just being able to have fun and change things up instead of working for an agency as their designer and you're just staring at the fucking same 3 typefaces and color schemes all year long. I do not miss having a day job. Oh, that was when I worked at ESPN, just staring at Helvetica New in a red and black color scheme. I was just bleh! So frustrating. Now I can change up my color palette whenever I want. I feel so blessed, and I get to draw my own letters with infinite styles. See, Max says that she likes my old lady smoker commenter voice. What are you talking about? There's definitely a couple voices in this weird head of mine. So things to keep in mind. Yes, being an authority in the industry is awesome. It's a version of social proof, right? Like, hey, you're doing this thing, and that inspires other people to do that same thing as you. You get more followers. When you get more followers, that's your social proof. Because if you can prove to clients that you can market yourself, then you could probably market for them. All right, right? The final pro to the best parts of being full-time freelancer is you don't have a boss, right? No one is ever going to tell you what to do ever again. But, right? There's always a but. But much of what you do isn't going to be the thing that you want to be doing, which is drawing and arting. That's a word, and designing. Most likely, a lot of what you'll be doing is you'll be doing onboarding, accounting, marketing, which is super important. Even when you have clients, you have to be marketing every single day. So that way you always have new inquiries coming into your feeds, in your inbox, and you can continue to pay your bills. It is wonderful, I will say, to not... all of my ideas are heard because I'm the boss. I can work when I want on what I want, but that in its own way can kind of paralyze you because there's so many decisions and you're the one in charge of your time and you're the only person who's motivating you to work. And in the beginning, the first few years of full-time freelance, fuck yeah, you're going to be so motivated. You're going to be happier than you've ever been. You're going to be working like crazy, but you're doing what you love and that's what counts. But after a few years, it starts gnawing at you and you get older and your body gives way and you're not able to work, 15 hours in one setting anymore, and your priorities change. And depending on how old you are, family becomes more and more important. And doing all of these things and going crazy and being scatterbrained gets harder with every passing year. So just kind of giving us realistic, once you do attain full-time freelance status, where do you go from there? Do you think you're going to end up running a new business? Are you going to hire people? And keep in mind, those goals are going to keep changing and those expectations are going to keep getting higher and higher. So you have to just be prepared to create a business strategy that can grow with you, because naturally the things that you like to draw and the services you like to offer are going to change with time, just like you do. I'm sure you're a totally different person than you were 10 years ago, just like your art will be. So those are kind of the ups and downs of the harsh truth about going full-time freelance. But luckily, there is a is it 6 or 7? Oh, I thought it was 7. Six-step checklist to what you guys need to be doing before you quit your day job. Yes. Okay, Dina, we're scared and excited. I don't know how to feel about this. Things are a little bit all over the place. All right. So for those of you watching during the live stream, definitely come in with any questions you have throughout from this point on. Are you ready? Let's get into it. Dina, this is so fucking weird. Just looking at your face for so long. I know, let's go, forget it. All right. Number 1, full-time freelance checklist. Numero 1. You need to go ahead and make sure that you have a portfolio with the exact kind of work you want to be hired for. What does this mean? Okay, so it's really important as an artist that you figure out your niche. And your niche can be so many different things. It can be the subject matter that you gravitate towards. Maybe you're all about feminism. Maybe you are all about sports. Maybe you're all into social anxiety. Like, what are the topics that you keep circling back to? How do you make people feel with your art, right? And then maybe that's the one key in all of the pieces that you make. Or maybe it's the service that you offer. Maybe you're just really, really good at making hand-lettered t-shirts, or you're really, really good at making watercolor greeting cards, and you are the person to come to for that one service, right? Or it could just be straight up style. Like, you just have a really identifiable style. You use this sick fucking color palette in all your pieces. The line weights are all the same. The way you shade your characters and your scenes, and it's something that's really desirable, and you could be, easily hired for any service, for any subject matter. So I think it's important that we try to focus on at least one of these things, and especially if you're looking for clients, I think the service is probably one of the more important things. Obviously, as an artist, you can draw anything for anyone, But for clients, they need to see that you are alleviating risk for them. They need to feel comfortable and feel like they can trust you with their money, and you're not going to run away with it. You're not going to fuck it up, and they're not going to have to hire someone else to fix any of your mistakes that you may have or may not have made along the way. So it's really important that your website, your portfolio, and the work that you're showcasing is the exact work you want to do more of, because that's your proof. So if you really, really want to be doing editorial design for like a children's market, you better have like 10 strong pieces of either personal or client work that shows me, the potential client, that you can do your job. Or if you want to be a branding designer, I want to see lots of custom logo designs. I want to see your process. I want to see testimonials of clients that have hired you to do logo designs. Again, it's all about alleviating risk from the client's perspective. And I know a lot of us, we have portfolio work, sometimes from client work we're not very proud of. And what's going to happen if you post that? You're going to get more of the clients you really, really don't want to work with. So even if you only have one piece right now in your portfolio that you were excited to make, whether you got paid to do it or not, that is better than having a scatterbrained amount of projects that you honestly don't think are worth repeating with another client. So then you're doing a disservice to your client. You're working on something you're not really excited about. They think you're fucking thrilled. And of course it's going to show in your art. Just like I'm sure in all of our experiences, when you make something personal, when there's no prompt, there's no client looking over your shoulder, you're just making it because you love it, those are often the projects that are the best things we've ever made, and those are the career makers. So why can't we start to blend and do what we love and actually provide that as a service? It's totally doable, and it actually makes it much, much easier for someone to remember you if you just focus on one thing. So again, just try to figure out how you want to niche down. Is it the services that you offer? Is it the subject matter? Is it the tone of the message? Is it the method behind the madness of what you're trying to fucking say to the world? Or is it more about just the straight up aesthetic, the color schemes, the style, things that we should be taking into consideration? And the more niche you are, it's the better. It's going to seem weird. You're going to get less inquiries in the beginning because you've niched down and your audience has slimmed down a little bit, but in the long run, it's only going to help you. Again, another reason why you need to have other diverse revenue streams coming into your bank account. So that way, especially in the beginning, you're taken care of. So step one is definitely having a badass fucking portfolio, having good content on there, showcasing the work you want to get hired for, probably having some sort of questionnaire so you can, begin that client onboarding relationship. And that is something that we are actually, me and Rick, me and this guy that I'm engaged to in the other room, are creating another course for our night school series on Patreon, where we teach a different live online course, every other month. Right now I'm doing my social media course for Instagram, and then probably in December or January, then we'll be going ahead and doing a course all about how to create your website. So definitely check that out and be on the lookout for that information. Lena's asking in the chat, what do you say your niche is? My niche is probably much more about subject matter nowadays. I've switched a lot. Now it's probably, I'm all about, God, I don't know, it's so difficult. I think it's because I'm right now in a position where I'm not really looking for client work because I'm switching to products this month. But if I had to choose, I would say my subject matter is probably having to do with like empowering women, and my style is definitely more indie and very bright and saturated color scheme, kind of like not hipster per se, but something that's very modern looking. And then when it comes to the services that I offer, I only really work in advertising, typically social media advertising. Like a company will hire me to create a really beautiful illustration to promote an event or a new product launch, or for them to get new followers on their account. Also creating artwork for blogs and online media, mostly online media. Print media I haven't really been able to dip into too much, and then signage has been my main situation this past few months. Oh, Danny Dodge coming in the chat. Question for whenever. Well, I'm gonna immediately see that. Okay. What do you do when you don't feel like working? I don't work. What's the balance of the to-do list slash being the boss and taking care of yourself? Perhaps tips on staying on task with workflow. Man, I really wish I could follow all of my own advice, guys. Seriously. If you are feeling like, I think there's a big difference between not working and having anxiety around working. I mean, for the most part, like, work is work. Even if you're doing what you love and all this stuff, it's still fucking work. And like we said before, a lot of what you're going to be doing during the day is not going to be drawing. It's going to be admin and onboarding, all this stuff. So if it's something like, oh, I just straight up don't want to work, you just got to fucking push through unless you really don't want to pay rent this month. Like, if you're not motivated by being homeless, I don't know what else is going to motivate you. But on the other hand, if it's something like you're having a literal fucking panic attack every time you go into your office and stare at your computer screen, your belly sinks and you just feel awful, then I think at that point, you need to step away. You need to go on a fucking walk. You need to go watch like 30-minute TV show, pet your dog's tummy. Just pet your tummy, guys, when you need a break. Whatever's going to distract you long enough to kind of get over those kind of anxiety vibes so you can get back into work again. I'm a big fan of using I have a weird reward system. So for what I personally do is like, I'll try to do all of my email, my admin, my onboarding in the morning, like first thing, like all the shit I don't want to do, I fucking tackle that shit first. And then once I finish it, I give myself a reward by doing personal work. And that's why a lot of you who are following me on Instagram have seen such a drastic change in my aesthetic, and my skills have grown so quickly, especially in illustration, going from lettering to illustration, because I'm doing much more personal work now that I'm really excited about, because I know all of my annoying work is out of the way, so I can kind of do the fun stuff. So that's what I do. I think definitely something that's important is staying organized and making sure that you have some sort of to-do list system. Don't just be writing shit on sticky notes in your office, guys. I appreciate those of you who like write out your to-do list and you have like a thing. I think it's much more important to have something like that you can keep on your phone, so that way when you're away from your artist, away from your sticky note collection that you probably have in your office or where you work, you can take it with you. That way if you get like a cool idea for a project, you can quickly write it down. You can make sure you're always staying organized. So what I like to use, I use something called Todoist. So Todoist, so Todoist. It's free, and I've been using that for like 4 or 5 years, and it's great. So we want to make sure, getting back on track to our checklist, that we're, showcasing the work that we want to get hired for. Number 2 is you need to have an established audience on social media. You need to have an established audience somewhere. It could be social media, it could be your own personal blog, it could be Patreon, but you need an audience. You need a soundboard. Because a lot of people make this mistake where they try to jump into full-time freelance without having an audience to support them. I think this is a huge mistake. This is why you need, when you're thinking about going freelance, do it on the side. Do not just be like, fuck my fucking barista job. I'm just going to be a full-time freelancer. Bye, fuckers. Like, no, be realistic, chill. Okay, come on. You want to make sure when you're starting out in freelance, not only that you're practicing how to work with and talk with clients and all this stuff, because there's quite a lot you have to do as a freelancer, but just making sure that you're giving yourself the right opportunities to be working with clients. And then again, just really trying to drill this into your brains really hard, to not work with clients you don't want to work with. If you have a day job paying your bills, then and you're doing freelance as a side hustle, to start out with, only work with the clients that you're excited to work with. Only, make personal projects to get those clients, and just be really, really structured. So I really want to make sure that you have some sort of audience that's proof to clients that you know how to work with them. This is so great because that way you're not only building up a community around yourself with, peers and like-minded artists, but more importantly, you're attracting what I like to call normal people to your feeds. Yes, that's right. Social media isn't a place for you just to hang out with all your arty friends. It's a place for you to be marketing your work. It's a marketing advertising channel and always has been, right? So unless you just have a personal Instagram, then it's totally different. Then you just, take as many pictures of your dog's butt as you want. I don't know why I use it as an example, but you could do that if you wanted to. I mean, no judgment. So I think having a legit audience, and for me that's like 1,000 followers, like just something, because all you need is 1,000 true fans, right, to make anything happen. And I think this is important because what I said earlier, if you can prove that you can market yourself, then that shows clients that you can do the same thing for them. And if you're creating artwork, even if it's just personal artwork and it's gaining momentum and you're getting fucking followers and you're getting comments and you're getting engagement, that's marketing. That's practice, that you're creating art that other people want to see you make. But a lot of mistakes that artists make, especially in the first few years of their career, and this is a big thing that we talk about right now in my social media course, is you need to be making art that attracts normal people, not just other artists. Because we tend to be in like a motherfucking echo chamber and monkey see, monkey do. Oh, I see all this lettering stuff because I'm a lettering artist. So of course I'm just going to regurgitate all the shit that I'm seeing what these people are saying on my feed. Where instead, you really should just be drawing art from your own personal experience. If you're an artist, you should be using your superpower of empathy and creating art with a message. If you're a designer, figure out a purpose like behind your design, fix a problem, and then do that as practice for your design work. But very few of us know what our message is. We don't even know who we're trying to attract. And that way, we have the practice using social media. That way, when you do have your portfolio ready and you are taking on clients, your clients can easily check out the work that you're doing and see a consistent message. So it's the same thing, like step 1 and step 2 are pretty much the same, just one's your website and one's a social media channel. I love that people in the chat are like, you busted me on my sticky notes. Shauna's coming in with, my sticky notes have sticky notes. I love that. I know this might sound a little crazy. Like me personally, I think the 1,000 followers is really important before you go full time. Again, this is full-time freelance. Not, I'm going to do freelance on the side and moonlight it while having my day job. Of course, you can have whatever fucking amount of followers that you want. I'm just saying these are the steps you need to be taking before you take the official leap. All right, number 3, okay? We've been talking about how you need to have freelance as a side hustle to start with. So I think you need to be doing this for at least 1 year before you go full-time freelance. Because a lot of people, they do the same thing, right? They're like, okay, Dina, or okay, whoever told me this advice, I'm going to start doing freelancing. I'm going to, get it started on my website. I'm going to start taking on clients, and they get really excited and it starts working for them. And then like 2 months later, they're like, fuck you, boss, I quit. And then they go into the full-time freelance and they're totally unprepared. 2 months of dealing with clients is not enough time. You need to refine your onboarding process. And to make this clear, your onboarding process are the steps it takes before you start production working with a client. And there's a lot of steps. There's so many fucking steps between, hey, I want to work with you. What are your prices to? I got my money. Let's start making design work. Like there's so much stuff in between. And there's so much nuance to it where you need to be, you need to have some sort of questionnaire to start with for them to fill out a form, for them to feel like you're a professional, and that the questions that you're asking them better help the client understand their own fucking goals for a project. And then being able to fucking negotiate with that client, making sure that you ask even more questions via email or, creating a meeting to talk to them and knowing exactly how to establish value. Because the more knowledgeable you are about what you offer, and the more practice that you have talking to clients in the first place, because I know a lot of us just talking on the phone with a client is like, ugh, that takes practice. I was super awkward in the beginning too. You need to practice that shit before you're relying on it for your full-time income. And so then you have your proposal. And in the proposal, you need to have an established contract to make sure that you and the client are both protected, to make sure that they pay you on time, to make sure that they don't steal rights from you, that they don't try to take advantage of you with like going outside the scope or asking for revisions they never paid for, all these things. And then also your pricing structure. How the fuck do you price yourself? Are you going to give them packages of different pricing? There's so much stuff that goes in here before you actually get the proposal signed and a deposit paid to actually begin production. So I really do think that all of this practice is really necessary. And in the beginning, you're going to end up working with like your friend's cousin, right? Some fucking weird family member, some chick you went to high school with that you never talked to, but she heard that you were a graphic designer. So she's, hitting you up on Facebook to design her logo. I'm not speaking from experience. You're going to get shit like that. And it's very easy to get taken advantage of in situations of people that you're working with that you actually know, or like know a guy who knows a guy. And that's why it's more important than ever. The closer someone is in your relationship, like your partner, your mom, your sister, your friend, still make sure the onboarding process is the same. You still tell them about pricing. You still have a contract that they have to sign. They still have to pay 50% up front, because this is the practice that you need to showcase yourself as a professional in the real world. So Danny's asking me in the chat, do you have a template contract for your business, or do you find a template to use each time depending on the clients or the clientele? So I think it's a huge mistake to go ahead and just download a template from the internet and copy paste, because normally these contracts are full of legalese that you yourself probably won't understand. So instead, I think it's better to literally, like, if you're going to read a legalese contract, go ahead and like put it in layman and then rewrite the contract. Because the purpose of a contract is so that way the client easily understands what the expectations are during the project. And if it's convoluted in legalese and they need a lawyer in order to understand what the fuck is in there, they're going to sign a document that they don't know what it means, and you're going to run into so many problems during production. Because a contract isn't just there to protect you in a court of law. It's there to have easy communication and over communicating to a client what you're offering, what they're going to get, what the deadline's going to be, to make sure there's no hiccups. And this is where the most like client from hell stories come from, is because the designer or artist didn't understand how to work with a client. They didn't know what they need to be protected from. They didn't know to go over all this stuff. So if you go to my blog at lettershop.com/blog, you'll go ahead and I think you go back to like a second page ago, because it's been a hot minute. I literally give you my template for proposals, and I tell you my entire onboarding strategy. So definitely check that out. It's totally free. And then obviously, like, as you work with clients, like your contract's going to evolve. There's going to be things that you missed. As you get more professional, work with bigger clients, they're going to be like, oh, did you ever think about having this in your contract? Like, they'll start to give you help. That's just something that happens, at least for me. It happened just last week when I was doing this sponsorship, like influencer marketing sponsorship with Blur Books. And she was like asking me like, oh, have you ever thought about including this into your contract? So that way we're not liable. Because it was, here, let me explain. There was this, I have a thing in my contract that says I'm not liable if anything goes wrong with this project, even the money I made for this job. But I didn't have anything in my contract that had protected them. Like, they're not liable if I, like, you know, create designs that infringe on the rights of others, for example. And I was like, oh, let me include that. That's a good thing to include. So, you know, you're going to start with this one boilerplate kind of template. And then as you work with clients, you're going to be like, oh, I should really add this part of my contract, or I should really expand on that. And that'll just naturally grow from there. ZMax saying, that is the one thing that I think my day job for, being able to deal with talking on the phone with the worst people in the world. Yes, anybody out there who works in customer service, you are so prepared. Okay, ZMac is asking, have you ever had an issue with people just accepting the terms and conditions to your contract? I don't understand. Yeah, that happens. Have I ever had an issue with anyone except... Oh, I see. Have I had any issues with someone not wanting to sign my contract? Yes, but think about it like this. It's very normal for someone to say that. I have never received a single contract from another business without negotiating the terms of that contract, because most people copy and paste templates from the internet. And clients, because sometimes if you work with bigger clients, you have to sign their contracts versus them signing your contracts, and they're going to be buried in legalese, and they're always going to say things like, oh, we want work for hire, which pretty much means we own the usage rights to this artwork. And sometimes, depending on the company, that even means you can't even showcase it in your portfolio. Obviously, first of all, you don't get the rights automatically. There's a separate fee for that. For those of you who are like, what? When you do freelance, you have a design fee, right? The time it takes for you to design the piece. Then you have usage rights, which is them having the rights to use that artwork. Unless you're doing something like a logo design where like they have, like you're just writing their company logo, then you can't really do much with usage rights, because the whole point of usage rights is, hey, you're taking potential money out of my bank account. Like if I create a t-shirt for you and you own the exclusive rights, that means I can't sell the rights to that artwork to another company. I can't sell it on my own platform. So that means you're taking potential money out of my account. So I could do something like non-exclusive usage rights, where you can have access to that design and I can have access to that design, do whatever I want with it, but it's going to be cheaper. But if you want full exclusive rights, that's going to be expensive. So that's another just kind of example. But yeah, so people will debate with you and argue over contracts and that kind of thing all the time. Just be prepared to back yourself up. Don't fucking lie down, and don't just be like, and let them walk all over you. Push back. That is the expectations of working with a business. You're negotiating. It's really, really hard. It's still hard for me to this day to negotiate my terms, but I feel like if I just fake it till I make it, everything will be okay. All right, let's move on to step 3 into our checklist before you quit your job. All right, so sorry, number 4. So we were talking about you need to attract, right? You need to be attracting the right clients with the exact kind of work you want to get hired for. You want to make sure you have an established audience somewhere. For me, I think it's like social media. So at least have one channel with at least like 1,000 subscribers or 1,000 followers or 1,000 newsletter signups, whatever. And then the third one was have a year minimum of experience working with freelance clients before you do it full time. All right, number 4. Now this is something that's really, really important. You need, this is a number that a guy named Sean West, who was like the only dude talking about art marketing a few years ago. So there's a couple things about him I don't agree with. This is one that I'm like, yes, and actually really helped me feel more comfortable quitting my job, is I was making 80% of what I was making at my day job in my freelance career. So that way I felt like, okay, I'm at a good spot. Because anyone can just get like one client a month. But that one client a month might not equal like the $3,000 or $4,000 that you might make at your day job. I have no idea how much you guys make. I'm just saying as an example. And a burp is coming. Okay, now I feel better. So you want to make sure that the side hustle that you have is obviously successful. And I feel like by having that benchmark of like, okay, 80%, it's like, okay, I'm starting to feel comfortable. So it's like if you have 3 months, because anyone could just have a good month, but if you have 3 months solid where you are making 80% of what you make at your day job at your freelance hustle, fuck that job. You've had the experience for over a year, right? You have a portfolio, you have your onboarding structure figured out, fucking do it. Go for it. A lot of people will say like, oh, have 6 months fucking of living expenses saved. I don't know how rich your family is, but no one can fucking do that. I've been living paycheck to paycheck my whole life until I went full-time freelance. I don't know who the fuck you think you are. That's crazy. If you're able to do that, you got inherited, someone died, someone gave you an expensive car or jewelry that you sold, cool. Obviously having savings and having a cushion helps, but not everyone can rely on that. And I feel like if that was a standard that we put on ourselves, like, oh, you'd have 6 months or 3 months of living expenses saved up, like a lot of people wouldn't go full-time freelance, and that would be really fucking sad. So Danny's coming in the chat asking, have you ever had a client scared by a contract? Totally. Most of the people who get scared by a contract are one of two people, right? One, they've never worked with a freelancer before, and them spending more than $100 anywhere to one specific person just freaks them the fuck out. So they see a long ass proposal that's like 6 pages. That's going to be a little scary for them. So this is why I think it's really important that up front, like when you're having your questionnaire and getting all that information you need from your client in order to give them a quote, you ask the question, have you ever worked with a freelancer before? And if the answer is no, then instead of you working on email and having them fill out your form, you fucking call that person. You make a video chat meeting, something. You're going to have to hold that person's hand. They need to see your face. They need to connect with you. And they need to feel safe that you're not going to steal their money. Because if I were to spend more than $1,000 to a complete fucking stranger, you best know I'm going to live chat with that person. Like I need to know what is your social security number. Don't you run away from me. Like that puts me on edge, and it would make anyone feel uncomfortable. So definitely don't come from a mindset of like, I'm so fucking cool and amazing. You just don't get how to work with me. Like you're never going to make money and you're not going to be successful. Always come from a place of empathy and try to empathize with the person who's trying to hire you. So that's one person. The other person that is scared by a contract is the bastard. this is the person that's going to lie like crazy to take advantage of you. They are going to say things like, what? I've never worked with an artist that's charged usage rights before. What? I only do contracts that are work for hire. How dare you? I've been in this business for 15 years. It's like, what is wrong with you? Like, just because and like, I always love that as a point of argument. Like, I've been doing this for 10 years and no one's even had the audacity to ask me this question. Where I'm like, I can do the same thing. This is the way that I've been doing business for the past 10 years and I've never, that's not a fucking argument, right? Just be like, hey, and explain yourself and why you provide that service and why it costs that much very calmly and confidently. And that's all that you can do. And just watch out for those red flags. This nice guy, right? You got to hold their hand a little bit. But this bastard, follow your gut. If he's, like can't even like write a sentence to you in an email and it's all like gobbledygooky, you're not gonna be able to work with that person. You can't even communicate with them. Or if that person's insulting, or they're saying like, oh, I need this right now, and they're just like kind of pushy with you, that's a red flag. Don't work with this person. If it just seems like something that just is impossible for you to do and you feel weird about it, you're feeling weird about it for a reason. So definitely try to look out for those red flags in the beginning. I've said no way more times than I've ever said yes to a project because my sanity is just important as that client's. And harder clients that like are hard to work with, man, that shit eats up your time because you're all like anxiety-y, that's a word, and you're feeling bad about yourself and you're not going to be productive. And that's going to cost you with all the other clients that you're working with and all the other stuff you have to fucking do to make money. So definitely get comfortable saying no. Saying no. Okay. So we're feeling good. We got a portfolio. We got an audience. We got a year of experience. Oh yeah. We got 80%. Oh, we're feeling good. We're like, oh, I'm gonna quit. You're getting excited. Like, oh, I'm gonna quit. I don't no more working at the mall for me. Fuck you, Starbucks. Like you're getting excited. But 2 more things. I'm going to switch the order of these. The next one is you need to make sure that you have accountability and organization before you quit your job. You need to make sure you have like some sort of accounting software so you can stay organized and keep track of your finances. A lot of people don't do this in the beginning. They don't track their time. They use invoices through PayPal, which you shouldn't do for lots of reasons. They don't have contracts. They don't have an organized onboarding process. They don't have an organized production process, which is like how you, like, what is the process of you creating a final piece of work for a client that should be somewhat streamlined. So you're just like a fucking well-oiled motherfucking machine. So what I like to use to stay organized is something called Anco. And I'm going to go ahead and type it in the chat so you guys know how to spell it. Anco. It's free. It was paid, but then Fiverr bought it, and now it's free. So that's cool. It's amazing software. You can track your time. You can go ahead and do all of your invoicing and your proposals through the software. The invoicing is amazing because that way people can pay with a money order. They can pay with a credit card, like any major credit card, or their PayPal. It works really, really well. And for proposals, you can easily build it online. No more having to like make some weird thing in InDesign and export it as a PDF. People could very easily electronically sign it. And it's really nice because they can sign it and then they immediately get the invoice for 50% upfront after they sign it. It's great functionality. It's very seamless. But I think my favorite part about Anco, and this, they're not giving me money to say this, it's just a really cool program, is they have this in and out feature where you can go ahead and you can attach like your bank account and your PayPal account to it, and it'll go ahead and let you know about, hey, there's some new expenses on your account, or hey, there's some new money in your account. So that way you can really stay on top of your finances, so that way you know whether or not you're in the red and you're fucking losing money, you're in the black and you're fucking just like, all right, we're breaking even, or you're in the green where you're actually making money from the money that you're spending. Because there are a lot of expenses that go into running a business. There's marketing, there's supplies, there's all these services and subscriptions you have, your domain. Like I have Buffer and Later and all these other apps that help me run my business. That shit costs money. So you need to make sure that you're charging more than your expenses. So that's very, very key. So ZMAX coming in with, I've heard people talking bad things about invoicing through PayPal. Can you kind of go into why it's bad? Yeah, sure. So the main reason, so PayPal is always going to back the customer more than the business every time. So as a consumer, I love using PayPal because I can easily get a refund through that service. If I want to get a refund for something, I don't even have to contact the original business. I can just hit order refund right on PayPal and bada bing, bada boom, you got a refund. Sometimes it's a little bit more complicated, but for the most part, it's pretty straightforward. With PayPal invoices, you lose a lot of functionality and you're expecting people to only pay you via PayPal. Now, I know PayPal has updated their stuff. Now they have credit cards, I think, but it just doesn't come off as professional if you actually have like some sort of invoicing system, whether it's from like a major bank account or it's using Enco or Harvest or something like that. I used to use Harvest. Enco is way better. I think just being able to have more functionality is really important. And again, people can very easily get a refund. So like there are people out there that are called client trolls, where they will be from a weird country. I'm not going to name specific countries. This happened to me. Weird countries. Where you go through the project, they go ahead, they give you a 50% deposit to start. And then when you go ahead and you deliver, like let's hopefully low res images, they're going to go ahead and be like, I'm not happy with it. Even though you did exactly what they wanted and they've been improving it the whole time, they're going to get mad. They're not going to want it. And they're going to order a refund before they had to pay that second half. This is why it's important to have a couple things. A, don't use fucking invoicing through PayPal. And also something in your contract that says, once this project is complete, not approved, once this project is complete, it cannot be canceled. This is to prevent internet trolls. And so this actually happened to me a few times where I just thought, like, I fucked up. Like, I just didn't do a good job. I don't know what happened. So they got a refund. And then this is what they did. They went ahead and took my low-res image, gave it to some Fiverr fucking guy, and then made, like, let's say a logo. He went ahead and vectorized my low-res image. So he, instead of her having to pay, like, the $3,000 to me, right, to go ahead and complete this thing, she got a complete refund and then spent $5 for some dude to vectorize my design. So that's something we need to be prepared for. So I know that's like a little bit of a tangent. I just think appearance matters, especially when you're a designer and you're an artist. So you might as well be using the best software possible to showcase yourself as a professional. Danny, why is your soul crying? What did I do? My soul, your soul is crying for me and what happened? Yeah, it was not a fun time. Again, make sure you have, you've been working with clients at least a year, because all this shit's going to happen to you. Don't use Craigslist. Don't use Fiverr. Don't use any of those like bullshit, like you have to send a bunch of proposals out in order for someone to hire you. The whole point of being a really good freelancer and making consistent income is having a specific niche and attracting clients. And that leads me to the final thing. You need to have a plan for an ongoing marketing strategy in order to attract clients. You should not be asking for work. You should not be sending out cold emails or making cold phone calls and asking people, hey, do you need any lettering services? Hey, do you need any art? Blah, blah, blah. Because you're at a major disadvantage when you do that. When you do that, you're pretty much in the position of, hey, hello, sir. I am but a poor artist. I love what I do, but I have no money. Please, sir, if you will only give me this one chance to prove to you that I can do a good job for money. You're bargaining before anything has even happened. You need to establish your value beforehand. You do that by being consistent, posting consistently on social media, posting consistently and updating your portfolio regularly, not waiting 3 years to update it. I see you in the back. But to be updating it every month or every time you have a new project, take that project and put it on your website. Right? Just fucking do it. So that way you have a way of getting more clients. Now I'll go ahead and I'll talk about a few different ways you guys can be using marketing to make sure that you're attracting clients on a consistent basis. There's a couple different ways that I've personally tried, and I keep changing them, honestly. I'm a big believer of just trying some shit and see if it sticks. That's just kind of how I work. And I've tried a lot of stuff. So that's why I'm excited to do these weekly live stream lectures that only my patrons get access to the live streams, but then will be made public to YouTube afterwards. But you guys, you YouTubers out there, you YouTubers, you get the long version. You didn't get to ask me questions. So guys, don't forget, subscribe. Rick just put that there just so I could do things like this. Subscribe to my channel on YouTube. All right, so how can we market ourselves? Okay, so the number one way that's worked for me is SEO. This is search engine optimization. This is when most clients, what do? They need a client. They need a client. They need a freelancer. What do? They go to Google. They go, freelancer, right? I need a chalk installation in Portland, and that's what they're going to type. Or they're going to be like, at a children's book illustration freelancer, right? They're going to use keywords to try to find artists on the internet. So how do you get good search engine optimization? Well, you have to write this thing called content. You can't just be posting things on your portfolio where it's just a bunch of images. You need to be actually writing content. Not everything is going to get searched with Google Images, and content is the only thing that Google can scan to show up in the search results, but it's something you definitely have to be comfortable with. So in the beginning, when I was first starting my freelance journey, I was all about blogging. I was blogging like twice a week, and I literally was just talking about the things I was learning as I was doing it. Like, oh, this is how I use Photoshop. Cool. like, oh, this is how you write a blog post? Like, just literally all these little nooks and crannies that go into becoming a freelancer. And I was just sharing everything I was learning along the way, which I highly recommend, by the way, because it makes you smart as fuck. Like, when you can teach someone how to do something, you know that shit's so good. It's so easy to like get distracted and like have a shiny object about this newest thing you need to learn and then forget like 5 years of other things that you've learned because you're like too busy looking at this new shiny diamond. That shit happens a lot, especially as you get older. So for me, creating consistent content, blogging, updating my portfolio, and using social media to drive traffic to my blog really helped me rank. And if you type hand lettering artist Portland, which is typically what a lot of my clients type, I'm the first result on the first page of Google. So that worked really, really well for me, especially at a time where lettering wasn't very popular and people were desperate for that kind of educational content. So it's definitely not too late for you, whether you're interested in lettering or illustration or graphic design or whatever. You're never going to know unless you start. And to this day, like, I don't even blog that often. It's still working for me. So something to keep in mind. Now, that's just one way that you can go ahead and market yourself. And if you're doing blogging, definitely recommend you guys do a couple Google searches on how to find keywords for your articles, how to write titles properly so that way people will click on them from Google, how to have an SEO strategy. That's something we're not going to get into in this video, but I'm definitely open to talking about it in the future. I am certified because I capitalized at my last day job and I'm smart. So it's definitely something I can talk about later, but some things to Google in the meantime, if that's the way that you're like, yeah, I've thought about blogging. And if it means I'll get clients, yeah, sure, I'll do that. Like, cool, awesome. Another thing you can do is obviously just go the social media route, but just keep in mind that not all social media channels are created equal. Some channels work better for other things. Like if you're selling products, places like Instagram and Pinterest are going to work better for you. If you're looking for clients, then profiles like Dribble and Behance are going to work better for you because those are channels specifically made to attract clients. So something definitely to keep in mind. Or you could just do all of them. I think it's a good idea to select 3 social media channels and just really stick to those 3. For me, that's probably YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. And it's quickly, and I don't consider Patreon one because it's kind of like a membership site for me versus a social media channel. But whatever, apples to oranges, blah, blah, blah. I really want you to think about, okay, if social media is going to be the one way that I'm going to try to attract clients, not just other artists, I really need to be consistent. So it's like, okay, what's my niche? I'm looking to do chalk signage. Okay, well then your fucking feed on Instagram better be a hell of just a bunch of chalk art. I want to see process shots. I want to see close-ups. I want to see different materials that you use to make chalk. I want to see projects that look like you did them for a client, whether or not that you did or not. You should be using hashtags that are all about chalk lettering and chalk signage and murals and all that stuff. You should be following other muralists and stuff and see what they're posting to inspire what you should be making. It is a strategy instead of just being like, I made this today. Look, mommy, also known as Instagram. Look what I made. Please give me validation. Like, no, don't do that. Instead, the more you plan, I know you guys hate this. I know you hate that. But if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And it's fucking true, man. Super true. So I really want to make sure that you have a strategy and you're consistent with it. So even if you are getting client inquiries and you're really busy, you still need to be making time for marketing, because you're just going to end up going for this feast or famine cycle. You're always going to either have too many clients or not enough. You're not going to have this perfect balance. So that's why it's really important to figure out all the things that you're doing with your freelance world and how many hours they take. That's why time tracking is important. How many hours can I dedicate to client work a week? How many hours is it going to take for me to do admin and marketing a week? How long is it going to take for me to write blog articles or whatever you're going to do to, announce yourself to the world? And that way, if you have all these client inquiries coming in October, you can go ahead and schedule them appropriately. Like, oh, okay, I figured out I have about 30 hours a month for a client. Okay, cool. So that means I could take 2 clients in October, and then these other 2 clients will have to wait until November. So that way you're not just saying yes to everything that comes in your inbox and then just getting really, really busy for 6 months. And then you haven't posted on Instagram in a really long time, or you haven't updated your blog. You have to figure out a way to do them all at the same time. So that's also another thing to keep in mind before you go full-time freelance. All right, that is a wrap on our Wednesday night class lectures. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I really like getting some of these questions from the live chat. The more people that come into these live channels, the better these fucking videos are going to come, the better these videos are going to be, because I can try to guess what you're having issues with, and I can try to guess how to help you with your struggles, but it's so much easier if you just tell me what they are. Danny's at saying, so much admin/operation stuff. This is why peeps who don't freelance don't know how much work it is. Yep, that's why you need to have what? A year of experience. Yeah, I knew you. You can hear me. I knew it. Before you go full time. So we've gone over a lot of things in this video. We've talked about the best parts and the worst parts about going freelance, and 6 things you need to have checked off on your list before you make the leap, quit your job, and try to do this whole full-time freelance thing. The biggest piece of advice I can give anyone is you literally can't be over-prepared. Just go for it, start doing it, and every day that you're doing it is going to get easier and easier. Give yourself a break every once in a while. Shit is going to be hard. That's why it's just so nice to talk about this stuff. So that's why social media is amazing, because you can share your feelings and feel way less lonely. And I know doing these live streams with you guys makes me feel a hell of a lot less lonely too. Even though I'm stuck in the 4 walls of my studio, I feel like I get to hang out with all of you. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us. If you are wanting to get live access to these videos, definitely consider becoming a Patreon at patreon.com/lettershop. For $7 a month, you get access to a brand new workbook that teaches you a new hand lettering style every month, and weekly live streams and lectures that you, the community, get to decide what we talk about. So, patrons, go ahead and send me a comment right now on this this post that I just posted this video to, and give me ideas of what we should be talking about during our next video. What are you currently struggling with? It could be about creativity, freelance, like maybe it's this thing that you're trying to, like, I can't draw toes. Why are they so weird and ugly? Whatever it is, I want to create a video to help you out with it. And it's always going to be live because editing takes time, and I'd rather make more videos, y'all. All right, I'm done. I never know how to end these things. I always feel really weird. Goodbye, farewell, goodbye, my friends and family. All right, bye. Bye, bye, bye.